Welcome to the All British Motocross podcast from Dirt Hub with myself, Ben Rumbold, and Dirt Hub boss Paul Ooten. Looking forward now to round two of the British Motocross Championship, the all-new Motul ACU British Motocross Championship for 2025. This weekend, round two at the revamped Canada Heights circuit. So really can't wait to get there. Going to be on the commentary box myself, so really looking forward to that. And there's some hot tickets going on. There's some new entries coming in that are looking attractive. So hopefully it's going to be a great weekend. Weather's looking fantastic. So yeah, buckle in. We'll have a little chat here with Paul and make our predictions. And look forward to the British Championship. If you're going, this will give you a little guide as to what's happening. If you're going to watch on the live stream, then of course, this will also help you to see who's who and what's happening. So Paul, you've had a busy time as always at the centre of Dirt Hub there. Lots going on, Bridgestone Masters, etc. So how much are you looking forward to this weekend?
Yeah, it never stops here, does it? But yeah, no, really, really excited about this weekend. Canada Heights, obviously I'm here in the hub, in the hub. You're there, watching. So I will be on live stream and obviously doing it. We've got Edward Heather's going to be out and about as well, and obviously you're there as well, covering it from the ground. And I think we've got Mark Leasing over there doing some pictures as well. So yeah, we got plenty of feet on the ground at Canada Heights. I'll be watching the live stream. They did a pretty good job of it last time round, so looking forward to that. Obviously, lots of other race events going on this weekend. Canada Heights, I love Canada Heights. I am actually gutted I'm not going to be there because I do love it. It's just something about that venue. There's something about motocross in the East as well. Over in that area, it is a real hotbed of motocross. And the revamped track, I think there's been a few more adjustments. I think they've I'm sure I saw somewhere they said it was a little bit too quick, so they made a few more tweaks. But do you know what? The guys at Canada Heights know what they're doing, and they know how to produce a great racetrack. And I think anybody who gets there, obviously the weather's going to be fantastic. I think it's going to be in for a real treat. MX2 double lineup again. So there is going to be qualifiers and LCQs, and LCQ even, which I think is great. The entries were very close to the full 40 in MX1 and the 125s when we did the entry list. So, I think we're going to have 3 full 40 rider lineups, which what you expect, to be fair, for Canada Heights in the East over there. So, but yeah, really excited. And MX1, mate. MX1, we saw Conrad Mewse, the dominance, but is there a chink in the Mewse armor? Because obviously I'm a stickler for lap times and speed hive. And watching the Scottish Motocross Championships from Elgin, that wasn't as dominant a performance from Conrad Mewse up there as we've seen before when he stormed it by way over a minute. We're talking, in the teens seconds there ahead of Tristan Purdon. So, and I heard a little rumour as well that there was possibly a little injury niggle from Conrad Mewse. Might be false, but obviously he was announced to ride at the Dutch Masters, which he didn't do. So, you know what? Is there a little chink there? I don't know. Have you heard anything like that?
No, not heard much on the Conrad front at all, to be honest. Like you say, I mean, you sort of expect him to clean up at the Scottish Championship. And to be fair, the track looked mega. I mean, that looked like a seriously good circuit. When I was stuck in the mud, I think it was Agada that weekend of the Portuguese round when we were stuck in the mud. That Scottish Championship round looked seriously attractive. But this is the thing. The two chinks maybe is if there's an injury and also maybe the starts. Because if it is a fast circuit, Canada Heights last year I think was a bit tricky even for the likes of Jeffrey to get through the pack. Although he did have that wonderful sort of move that was going viral online where he went through 2 riders just like a dose of salts. But that might not be so easy of Conrad, but we'll see. The layout apparently is changed so that where it used to go left off the start and go into the woods, so the first lap action would all be in the woodlands somewhere. So unless you were down in there and not in the main area, then you wouldn't really see what was going on in the first lap. So with this one, I think it's going to bring all the first lap action right in front of everyone's faces. You'll see that excitement will be amplified because it will happen right in front of you. If you're in the main sort of causeway there at Canada Heights, there's like 2 or 3 lanes altogether that you can see. So yeah, it's going to be good. You say from the ground, but I'm going to be up in the skybox, up in that weird, the amazingly tall hut in amongst the trees there to give a good view from the commentary tower. So yeah, looking forward to getting up there and yeah, seeing plenty of it. But yeah, for Conrad, this is now where we might see, because we have most of his competition, well, 3 riders in particular, Adam Sterry, Josh Gilbert, and of course Josh's Lexa MX teammate John Adamson, have all been doing the GPs every single weekend. Not been doing too bad. You know, they've been finishing. They've got through them without major injuries. I think we've had a few little knocks, but nothing too severe. So has now the MXGP experience done the opposite to what it did to Josh Gilbert? Like last year, it beat him up. Has it this year actually helped him to bring forward, because he's been racing against the factory beta guys. He's been up against them riders, the likes of Brian Bogers, who hasn't had a great season, but he's been fighting in amongst those riders in terms of both Josh and Adam. John a little bit further back, but not too far back, and has been in that environment now brought their pace on to Canada Heights, whereas Conrad, in all due respect to everybody else at the Scottish Championship, has not really had to push too hard to get the results that we all expect. So that's going to be the thing now. Is that gap that Conrad showed at Hawkstone is clearly there? Are the other guys going to get closer to bridging that, especially on a hard packed circuit, which certainly is better for Josh, probably better for John. No, John's more of a sand guy anyway. But yeah, maybe for Adam a similar story. But yeah, hard packed circuit, difficult track to pass on if you don't make the start. We might see an upset, but yeah, and especially if, like you say, there is a rumor of a little injury. So we shall see.
Yeah, that thing I was going to say about the GP. Obviously, the GP boys have had like a mire fest. Like literally, it's been a mud fest week after week. So you'd think obviously the weather's looking good for this weekend, but if this weekend was a mudder, you'd be like, these guys are tuned in for that.
Yeah. Exactly.
Do you think, in the other respect, the fact that they haven't had any hard pack fast GPs really of note, in the last weeks, that maybe that's not gonna be in their favour quite as much?
I don't know. I mean, the headlines have been mud, 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 but we only really had serious mud in the two in at Kozar and Agada. If you look at Sardinia's deep sand, Saint Jean d'Angely, we had a little bit of mud, but it was still pretty hard packed, strong and fast for most of the GP there in France at the end of March. Just looking at my calendar here, Trentino, that was largely a dry, fast weekend. Switzerland was all dry, like it was no mud at all. That was proper hard pack. In fact, very similar ground to Canada Heights, Switzerland without the hills. So yes, there's been some mudders, but in honesty, I think there have been just as many decent weekends of weather for them to increase their pace. So yeah, I think I think that their pace will be closer to Conrad this weekend for sure.
But and there is, obviously we will do our predictions, but there is a pretty clear, defined top 3 here, of our predictions previously: Conrad Muse, Adam Sterry, Josh Gilbert. Those are the 3 that you'd expect. That let's be fair, anybody going to make a prediction for the top 3, those 3 are probably going to be on it. So who do you think are the next guys who could maybe nudge onto the box? Or be 4th, 5th, or very close? Who do you think are going to be the next guys?
Tristan Purden has obviously shown some great pace, and being South African, he's got no problems with a bit of hard pack. So yeah, I think Tristan is the obvious candidate to get to challenge those top guys. And also Jamie Carpenter. I mean, he's had some really good results in other races. So I think Jamie's gradually building in confidence. And also then we're looking towards the Eastern Centre. You're starting to look at the likes of Sam Nunn. Obviously Tom Grimshaw's still out, sadly. But yeah, Sam Nunn, everybody knows how quick he goes over that side of the country. So he could bring his pace up into that sort of position. You've got Joel Rizzi, who I think is almost in dire need of a good result. And he's more of a stand guy, really, but you never know. So those are the obvious ones, and of course Martin Barr and Brad Todd. The two sort of a Pico / DK off road Honda riders. So yeah, they've all got a good chance. Although I think perhaps the main one that I would pick to go really well this weekend would be Taylor Hamill. He showed good speed at Marshfield and Good Friday races, and he's got the hunger, the desire, and he very nearly, if I remember rightly, he very nearly won there last year in MX2. I think it was his last MX2 race. I can't remember, that might not be right, but yeah, certainly I do remember him going very well at Canada Heights in MX2 last year. So yeah, from that side, it could be Taylor that threatens that top three. I think is perhaps the biggest threat.
One guy that does make good starts and has been really good at starts this year, and there's a cracking picture from Hawkstone of this guy getting the whole shot, and has had some good meetings, is Chris Mills. If we're talking starts, that guy, and it is really important at Canada Heights, he could be one to watch out for. Whether he's got the last and pace to stay there the whole moto, I think he's got the last and pace to stay top five. Whether or not it's going to bridge that podium, I don't know. Couple of other riders. Josh Spinks then won a race at the Bridgestone British Masters. Is going to be riding this one on a Triumph. Josh, always popular. Anytime we ever posted, especially in the early days of Dirt Hub, any post about Josh Spinks was always popular. He is a popular guy. Really like Josh, and doing his training schools, doing his own thing. But he beat Taylor Hamill straight up at Roxton. So yeah, he's going to be interesting. And I've also got Ben Edwards. Ben Edwards has had a really good start to the year in Scotland. So yeah, you can't really count him out. And like you said, John Adamson, with GPs under his belt, and I watching the GPs, I think he's getting stronger and stronger. I think he's getting more on the pace with it. It takes a lot of adjusting to do that full time, but I think he is starting to adjust, and I think he is starting to get more in the mix and build his pace. So I think that's going to really stand him in good stead.
Yeah, I mean, with the Lexa boys, I mean, you got to think it's not just the races themselves, but also they go to practice days at various tracks across Europe in between the GPs themselves. So they're going out to different places, different demands for the bikes and different setups. So they're broadening their horizons in terms of what they're riding and practicing and testing on each weekend. So each weekend and each week in between. So yeah, it's not just the GPs that are going to bring them on. It's also that extra testing. So yeah, I think I've not to give it too much away, but I've got John looking at a good weekend. But yeah, you talk about Ben Edwards. I mean, 7th overall at Hawkstone. I mean, in behind him was Carlton Husband, Jason Mira, Matteo Mio, Tristan Purden. So Ben has really shown some great form, and it'd be great to see him up there. I mean, we're all good to see new faces up towards the sharp end of MX1 in the British Championship. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be a real melting pot, I think. And again, you've got to think with this sort of strength in depth, if Conrad does get a bad start, he's got all the more difficult riders to pass. On a straight up race, yeah, you'd say not a problem. But when you put them all together, you've got to pass them all. That's not going to be easy, especially if someone like Taylor, Adam, or Josh gets the whole shot and starts to clear off. It won't be as easy for Conrad to make up the time as it was for him at Hawkstone Park.
Cool. And Brad Todd's another rider that I think could get a good start and be well in amongst it. He's had some good results in Scotland. Yeah, nothing spectacular from Brad, but you know what? I think he's going to string two good results together, which, as we know quite well, stringing two good results together when it comes to the overall can make a massive difference. We mentioned him before, Joel Rizzi.
Sorry, just as a burn there, but yeah, with Brad, I know he's also been racing like French Championship. He raced out in Estonia a couple of weeks ago, so he's been going out there, not GPs, but he's been going out there racing at different venues and broadening his horizons as well. But yeah, sorry, on to Joel.
Yeah, Joel Rizzi. I'm just looking at 11th and 12th. I think it was no, they were 10th. Matteo Mio probably underperformed, I'd say, at Hawks, and I expected a little bit more from him.
As Brad called him, the French sausage. Yeah.
Yes, the French sausage. I felt he underperformed a little bit. And obviously Joel Rizzi, and that sounds harsh, but and I'm sure Joel wouldn't mind us saying this because we all expect more from Joel, but there is that adjustment period with the new Triumph, and he is a rider that really needs a good result because of this is Joel's been on that real roller coaster over the last few years, and last year seemed to be at the peak of it, and he really needed this year to be up there with it, and it's just been a real slog for him. But it wouldn't surprise me if suddenly we saw a different Joel this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've got there's been more work being done on that bike to bring things up to the standard of the 250, because the 250 Triumph is as good as anything out there, I feel, at the moment. The 450 is just something that obviously it's brand new. They're not even committing to racing it in the factory level of GPs yet. So that's something that Joel's got to deal with. Yeah, we just hope Joel's a confidence rider, so we just hope that he feels good enough on that bike to push it, as we know he can. Won a race last year at Canada Heights in MX2, so he is absolutely, he's certainly got the ability. So we just want to see him do it justice. He's a good young British rider, and we want him to do well. And there's no shame in that, but it's just so difficult. So yeah, fingers crossed for him.
Cool. And before we move on to the predictions, just a few mentions. Travis Steele's had a really good ride at Roxton, so watch out for him if he's on good form. Dan Thornhill, he's had a bit of a quiet year, but he's had a couple of good rides now under his belt. And Luke Benstead won the Eastern Centre against people like Sam Nunn and that the other day. So he's a rider that could well using that Eastern Centre knowledge, use it to his advantage. Another thing, Gate Drop have mentioned and did an interview with Jeffrey Hurlins, who said that he is going to be riding a few rounds of the British. Duns, I think, was one of them. They said on that one. So fair play to Gate Drop for getting that scoop there. But yeah, Jeffrey Hurlins, obviously not going to be enough to bag him back-to-back titles, and obviously we do have a bit of a clash at some point with the GP, so he's not going to be doing the whole lot. But yeah, going to be great to see Jeffrey doing a few rounds of the British Championship again this year.
Yeah, I wonder if we bring out the number one plate.
That would make you really happy, wouldn't
it? I would love that.
You're going to get one printed up.
Yeah, I'll put the message out to Red Bull KTM. Yeah, if you want to do it, I'll find the printers for you. They've got, well, saying that, KTM, you never know if they're okay to do it or not, but perhaps not.
Well, it'll be interesting. So let's do it. Top fives. How are we doing this? Fifth to first? You going first, or how are we doing it?
Let's go fifth to first, and you can go first this time. I've got it written down.
I've got Tristan Purden in fifth. I think he's going to be up there. He's going to have some good results. I think he's probably one of the next riders, definitely on behind that three, and he would do two good rides, I think. So he potentially could get a podium if one of the the others step up.
Cool. Fifth for me, I've got Joel Rizzi. I think he I just double checked my facts, and he did win the first race in MX2 last year, and that was against Jack Chambers. Taylor Hamill was third and Casval fourth. So I think that Joel's got good feelings around there, and he's going to dig himself out of the hole and put in a good top five result, which I think for him would be great to see.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. Okay, fourth, I've gone Taylor Hamill. Taylor has been making some good starts this year, and he's looking really smooth on that Kawasaki. So I think if he can get the starts, I think he's going to get some good results.
Yeah, that's the key thing there. Despite what I said, I've actually gone with John Adamson in fourth.
Okay.
So I didn't get Taylor in my top five, I'm afraid. But yeah,
that's the GP in you.
That's the bias. Sorry.
It is, isn't it? It is.
I just think he's been thrashing around with those guys, and just like Ollie Colmer, when he gets back to the British, he'd just be like, "Wow, on we go." We've actually got some space to breathe here. So yeah, that's what I feel like with John.
Okay. Third, I've got Josh Gilbert.
Okay.
Yeah, I just think he's going to be solid. Yeah, just two solid motors from Josh. I think like I said he's just going to be quick and up there.
Okay, well, I've got Sterry in third.
Okay, well, I've got Sterry in second, and I feel he's going to be. I feel he's going to be closer. I think we know who's going to be. We've got at the top, but I
Yeah.
do feel, you know, I don't know. I don't see. I think Sterry might be able to win Motor One.
Okay, well, that's how I feel about Gilbert. Funny enough,
Okay,
I think Gilbert's going to win Moto One and is going to be second overall.
yeah.
Yeah,
So we're both looking, I think, of Conrad winning Moto
yeah,
2, but having his colours lowered in Moto 1.
yeah, yeah,
So Conrad Muse predicted to win. No surprises really with that
yeah,
one at all with Conrad. But like I said, not quite as dominant in Scotland. Is that a sign? I think not in a. Do you know what I mean? I do hope that it is a lot closer. I do hope that someone um, gives him a little nudge, and if someone can lower his colours, it just might give them a bit more confidence, and yeah, just open up the championship a little bit.
yeah. I mean, nothing against Conrad. Obviously, it's it's just a case as a neutral. You want to see good racing, and it's not great for a championship when somebody is massive, when one rider is massively faster than everybody else. It's as much as it was you know really disappointing to see Geiser pick up his injury in MXGP. It's actually made for now a slightly more interesting championship moving on. But that's just that's sport. So yeah, I mean, I personally would love to see Conrad go out to the AMA and really shake them up at Southwick. And I think he's got the ability to do that. So yeah, I hope he has a nice clean run through the British before he gets to the AMA because I'd really want to see what he can do out there. But yeah, obviously he's the favourite, but yeah, it's if there is perhaps one weak round or one where he's not as strong, I can't really say he's going to be weak, but if there's one round where he might not be as strong, this is it. Because this is the hardest pack circuit on the calendar. Apart maybe from Landrake, although Landrake he goes very well at because it's similar to what he knows. So Canada Heights is perhaps the one where, everything else is quite soft and sandy. Loamy if you go to Duns, but certainly sandy for Preston Docks and Ling. So this is the one I think where everyone else has the most chance of, as you put it, lowering his colours. So yeah, that's we still think he's going to win, but I think it's going to be the most interesting round yet.
Cool. Well, that's MX1 then. So MX2, which, do you know what? There is so much scope for MX2. We say it every time, but to be honest, throwing different things and different riders into the mix each time just makes MX2 just even more excited. And obviously, the big news in MX2 is the fact that Oliver Oriel, no,
Oriol
I'll get around the
Oliver.
right way. Oriel
First name
Oliver.
Oriol, surname is Oliver.
Yeah, I get there in a minute. From Gabriel SS 24 KTM is going to be in there. Now, he is a GP rider. He is a rider that is broken into the top 10 in MX2 class. And based on, current form, EMX 250 form, which is essentially the riders he's up against, he should really be a level above. But obviously, riding in the UK, a track he's not knowing. And what did you say? He's coming straight from Spain?
Yeah, he started the Spanish Championship, which bizarrely was on in the hotel room telly, which was quite strange. And yeah, he was doing well there with the red plate. So he is going to apparently be racing the Spanish Championship on Saturday and then coming back to race on Sunday at Canada Heights. So yeah, that's the tricky thing there. So at the moment, he sits 14th in the championship in MX2 in the World Championship, that is, and his best finish is a sixth, which was at Trentino. So that's hard pack sort of stuff. So yeah, Spanish. He's going to know what hardpack feels like. He seems to have gelled really well with the team. The bike is something he's familiar with as well. So yeah, when you consider, if you're looking on paper, you've got Billy and Bobby, who are both this year EMX 250 riders, and now you've got somebody who has raced top 10. He looks like, I think he passed like some of the top guys in MX2 at the opening round in Argentina. He was flying, and then he suddenly sort of crashed and disappeared. So he has been a little bit prone to crashing in the Grand Prix, but I think in this company, then he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. It just depends on that situation, how well it goes with the whole flights and dealing with that travel side of it. So yeah, we could see a subpar Oriol Oliver, but it still might be enough to give everyone else some serious trouble.
Yeah, and looking at the championship, obviously Bobby Bruce leading the way there, going 1-2 at Hawkstone. He has had a torrid. There's no other way to say this, but it's been a horrendous time in the EMX category. He's just not gone his way. Crashes, injuries, misfortune. Coming home to the UK and having a good round at Canada Heights is so needed for this guy.
Yeah, for sure. First red plate, I think, of his career, if I'm not wrong. Certainly at British Championship level. So that's brilliant. But yeah, Europe is he just constantly hit the floor. Two big first corner crashes in Trentino. Similar story in Switzerland. He obviously didn't trouble the scores there in Spain. So he's had 2 11th places, which has been his best. And that was there in where was it? In Saint Jean, and then at in the mud at Portugal. So yeah, Bobby, we know he's better than that. And he proved it at Hawkstone, rode really well to take the overall win. So hopefully the red plate, bit of confidence, and hopefully he's not too banged up from the Iberian trip. Then he could have a chance of holding on to that red plate. But it's going to be tricky for him, very much so, because everyone else is really hungry for it.
Cool, and on the EMX note, still on that note, because what our main protagonists really, I feel, are coming from that EMX 250 rider sort of batch, really, which is Billy Askew, who won the second motor at Hawkstone. It's not quite gone all his own way in EMX 250, but he has shown some signs. He's had a few good results there. He really does need to get where he pulls 2 of them together, gets a good overall. But he's had some good signs, to be honest, Billy. I think he's probably coming away from the EMX rounds frustrated, but positive at the same time. And I think going into the British round, having won the last race at Hawkstone, I think he will feel he can win this.
Oh, for sure. He's definitely got all the tools to do the job here. I mean, he missed it through injury last year, if I remember rightly. He's not on last year's results sheet. So, I think Billy had a small injury which made him miss last season at Canada Heights. But yeah, he's won there before in the youth classes, and he's no stranger to a good bit of hardpack. In the EMX races, in the EMX Championship, Billy's currently 13th, our top rider there. So, and that includes a really good ride at Trentino. I mean, just brilliant results there. A third in that first race where he led for so long, and obviously got his starring bit on Tommy's vlog. But then also, what impressed me the most actually was Switzerland, where he, in Trentino, some of the top players got taken out, and there were some issues for some of the top guys. Whereas in Switzerland, all of them were at the sharp end, and he had a good start. He led for a bit before getting passed by the top man so far, Resulis, and then he managed to keep going. He got past, but he also had 2 riders chasing down, including the local man Groitman in Switzerland. So a Swiss rider with all the crowd cheering him on, and Billy didn't fold. He didn't let him through, and also the Australian Liam Owens were there. Both of them were chasing him, and he didn't let them pass him on the last 2-3 laps. They were really knocking on his door. So that to me was almost a better ride than Trentino, where he kind of escaped with that top pack. But yeah, with a start, with all the confidence of being at the British Championship, thinking he should own it and boss it, I think Billy will be a real force this weekend.
Cool. And another rider I think will be a force this weekend, and again, a rider riding EMX 250, has been around the sharp end, But yeah, it's his season and his team season really has been a bit of a roller coaster. Then Guy and Dunson, yeah, I think he could do with a really good. There's quite a lot of riders here that could do with a really good British round, a little trip to the podium, and I think that would obviously the Gabriel team have got Oriel up there.
Yep. Yep.
So so they've got him there as well. So this could be a weekend for them to potentially get a double podium. And as Sean Simpson has said, it's not through lack of speed with Guyan at all. It's just
No.
mistakes and issues and problems and being in the wrong place at the wrong time. So yeah, you got to say he's should really be at the sharp end of the British Championship.
No worries. Yeah, it's with Dunson, it's almost a Sasha Coonan syndrome. He wants it so much, he just twists the throttle on, and sometimes that can backfire. So yeah, that's the biggest issue that Dunston's been having, as well as his starts. And that's just shown you the difference between EMX 125 and EMX 250. He challenged for that EMX 125 title. He's a little bit smaller than last year's 125 champion, Noel Zanox, who was currently second in EMX 250. But yeah, so he's a little bit physically smaller, so the 250 has been a little bit more harder work for him. But yeah, seventh in the series right now, including a third at Trentino and a fourth last time out in Spain. So Dunson has got the chance. It's just for him, my only doubts with him are basically it's hard pack, like he doesn't really know much. Well, like he hasn't really shown as good a form on before, and also yeah, just the starts for Guillaume just hasn't really happened so far. So with a good start, certainly he'd be up there. But yeah, I think the local boys are going to want to rough him up.
Cool. And round now our sort of batch of EMX 250 riders, Ollie Colmer.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I've been really impressed with Ollie because he just keeps going. You know what I mean? And as you said earlier, it's just going to stand him in so much good stead, just churning out those laps, being in the mix. He's been up there on that fringes of in the top 10 and mixing it with these guys. He's had some great motos, let's be fair. And like you said, I think it's going to really make a difference to his British Championship.
Yeah, I mean, was he fourth overall at Hawkstown? Oh,
Yeah,
I've lost the results. Sorry,
yeah,
fifth overall.
he's for Hawkstone, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, you might start to get a bit fed up about us saying that he grinds out results because, to be fair, his best results or some of his best results have come through like Trentino and Switzerland, which were straight out fast, hard packed circuits, 14th and 15th. He's got pace at those sort of circuits like Canada Heights. So yeah, I think he'll want to show off. It's not just the hard work bit in the mud; it's actually some serious pace which he's got going on.
Yeah, so next up, a rider we've sort of forgotten, but not forgotten. Tommy Searle. You can't forget Tommy Searle, can you? Because, I don't know, like, you'd like to think that, with all the EMX motors under their belt and a lot more riding, Tommy's not doing as much racing as the younger guys. These guys will start to, edge clear of Tommy in his sort of twilight years of his career. But you just know this is not the case. Tommy's still going to be there, isn't he? He's still going to be there or thereabouts. Canada Heights is going to have a big crowd, let's be fair. And Tommy will love that. They're going to love watching Tommy. They can give him, he will get a lot of fan support. And it's hard to see, if, I don't know, is he going to be toppled? Is he going to be out of the top three? Is he going to be out of the top five? What do you think, Ben?
It's the House of Searle, isn't it? This is, this is his castle, really. So, I personally don't think he's going to be toppled. I think he knows this place, even with a change of layout. I think just the soil, the dirt, how things cut up, and also he just seems to always do what's necessary. And for sure, he'd be as motivated as ever to do that in front of a home crowd. He always wants to be the boy. When the attention is on him, he tends to shine, which is such a great trait in itself that so many riders could learn from. You know, so many riders buckle when the attention's on them, but Tommy seems to thrive in it. And yeah, his vlogs have only helped that towards the, like you say, towards in his 30s, should we say, when he's racing here now. So I think Tommy's still going to be have everything that he needs there. He will practice enough, he will train enough, and I think he'll just do what he needs to do, which is get a good start and be right up there. So it's then going to be a case of consistently who's going to be there each race to challenge him. I think Tommy's in for a strong weekend, and yeah, what is he? 5 points off of Bobby in the championship. I think that's perfectly doable. So yeah, watch out for the number 100. I say.
Yeah, no, like you said, Tommy's at the moment, you know, like I said, you know, every year you think it's going to be his final year. YouTube has given him a, you know, a second wind, you know, and like I said, you know, the way he's riding, you know, I saw him at the Hut Cup, he was still plenty quick at the Hut Cup. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, he's still got it. A rider who was battling with him, and there was a real good duel at the Hut Cup, and a rider who sits fourth in the championship, Ben Musto. Yeah, Ben, you know, very quiet, Ben. You know what, Ben? If you do read your Instagram, I have been trying to message you for an interview. So read that, because you know what? He's just so quiet. You know, there's not you know, there's not a lot coming from him, but the kid is so talented and so great on a bike and very understated. But you know, that's just his way, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he's one who lets his riding do the talking, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, yeah, we all like media personalities and get the juice, but there's also something quite attractive about the quiet man just getting on with it. And yeah, Ben is that kid at the moment, and I say kid, he's probably yeah, he's getting up there almost now in terms of yeah, not being a rookie anymore. Um, but he's fast off the gate. He puts in good, intense early laps, and that is his strength. I mean, fourth at race one at Hawkstone was superb. You know, just Bruce, Searle, and Dooinson in front of him, brilliant. And you know, even with not so great a start, still a solid seventh in race two. So Ben is, yeah, from my part of the world. So it's mostly hard pack around here. So from that side, Ben will be no stranger to Canada Heights. And yeah, I think he is in for another strong weekend. So yeah, it's good to see. I think he's going, like you say, a completely different route. Not going to EMX and everything quite yet. I think he probably could have the pace to do that. But yeah, in terms of a good solid rider, I think yeah, Ben is right up there with most of his competition here. So yeah, I think he'll be in for a good weekend. And yeah, then we've got a few others that are still in the ballpark as well. And in fact, I'm gonna steer the conversation this way. There's one rider who also has been doing EMX and has been under the radar quite a lot, but was 10th at Hawkstone, and that's James Barker. Now he has certainly been improving in pace, and yeah, been putting it together in Europe, and for sure that will pay dividends when he comes to race to Canada Heights.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like I said, you know, and he's coming back from an injury, so is you know, he's building up, and you know, watching his EMX results, he's getting closer and closer to getting in those points as well. Every meeting he is, isn't he?
Yeah, he's scored a few points this year, I believe. He has. I thought he scored some points. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, okay. Awkward
I think
pause.
he's been close. I think he's been close, and he's getting
They have
closer.
been very close. Yeah, yeah, he's been very, very close. Yeah, not quite yet, but yeah, for sure he's been building up there, and yeah, in amongst the British, I think yeah, he's going to have some good time this weekend.
Ryder's sitting in sixth position and clocking up the miles, leading the Scottish Championship. Had a good performance as well at the Bridgestone. Is Charlie Heyman. Yeah, sixth for Hawkston. Two solid results, and I think maybe that is Charlie sort of settling down a little bit into a rider that strings results together. You know what I mean? And I think that could, at the end of the season, I think if he can continue where he's riding, the way he's riding, you know, confidence building, notching up good scores each and every week, he could well be a podium contender. You know, if other riders go by the wayside, you know, have injuries. You know, I'm not sure he's quite got the pace at the moment to be on the box race event, But, if he can stay fifth and sixth in each moto all the way through the year, which I think he's more than capable of, come the end of it, if people have crash out or injuries or, mechanicals, he could well be at the fore.
Yeah, I mean, Charlie is a smooth, methodical rider, and he's not one to sort of just pin it and hope it and go. And that automatically creates a little bit more consistency. Yes, okay, he might not push through to make the dazzling big results, but he will, like you say, consistently be there. And I remember Charlie dominating the 125 Youth Championship, moving up at Landrake to lead MX2 on a 252 stroke when in his first race in the pros. And okay, he's had a couple of seasons sort of battering that promise down, but that ability is still there. And yeah, for sure, Charlie, confidence building at the Scottish, and he's got so much ability. He's such a smooth, beautiful rider to watch. And I just hope that he can rise towards the podium sort of level, because it only takes an extra little step in pace and we could have a serious talent on our hands. So yeah, we're just, as always with Charlie, it's just a case of, okay, can he bring it out of himself to push just that extra little bit? It's the classic talented rider syndrome. If riding is easy, why push much harder? But obviously that's then down to Charlie to push it out of himself, because he is such a talent that sometimes it's almost too easy. But we'll see.
Cool. And two riders, probably a little bit under the radar from Hawkston. Glenn McCormack, seventh place.
Yeah.
Again, another rider that's been having some good results this year. And again, he is a rider that will just score points each and every round. And there's a lot to be said for that, after 8 long rounds of racing. Jake Nichols, watch out for Jake Nichols, to be honest. This could be a track where we see Jake push up towards the sharp end. Like, he's still got the hunger, hasn't he?
I'm not sure. I think that is perhaps maybe the issue. I think, yeah, he's got the hunger on the race day, but obviously, he's got his business and he's got so much going on. Massively successful guy, and I can't say anything about that. Wish I had his money, but he's worked for it, obviously. So but in terms of the racing, I just think he's got too many other things going on. I think a lot of these kids now are just so dedicated and constantly on it that I think Jake, probably this is where it might not get the results that you think. I think he's definitely very strong, and for sure, Canada Heights is his part of the world. He will get everything out of himself that he's got, but I just think the others are going to have a little bit too much.
Okay.
Sorry, Jake. You're ace and all the rest of it, and the vlogs are fantastic. The vlogs are so funny. I mean, well, X-rated, but yeah, just well worth a watch if you have the parental advisory tag on it.
That'd be worth a few more points, I reckon, on the board. It's vlogs, but Callum Mitchell, I've got him on there in 12th. Probably he would have expected a little bit more after the Hawkston International. I think he might have expected more from him from round 1, and going into round 2. Yeah, could see him not going up a few places. A rider, a few mentions. Max Harris won the last Scottish round. He's been having a really good year. So yeah, beat Charlie Heyman overall in Elgin. So Max Harris, one to watch. Florian Mio. Now he, again, we mentioned his brother probably underachieved, but Florian Mio should be a rider that will hang it out and get a result at Canada Heights. I wouldn't be surprised if he had one Storming ride and one ride where he might be in the fence or something. But I could see him getting one Stormer.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Florian's one of those candidates to completely hang out and do the business. But yeah, perhaps like you say, a one motor wonder. But I don't know. You missed out Josh Vale there, 11th in the championship at the moment, and Josh, he is more of a sound man, but yeah, for sure. I think he just needs to drive that forward. I think coming back from injury as well from Hawkstone, and yeah, he's just had his birthday, so many happy returns to Josh, and yeah, hopefully he can put in some good results, because again, this is another talent that is now stepping up to the adult ranks, and everybody wants the next big thing. So yeah, fingers crossed for Josh.
Yeah, the season hasn't gone quite to plan for Josh, but I don't think that's a bad thing, because I think it's probably taken the spotlight off him. a little bit. So
Yeah.
now he's sort of can sort of have his debut season sort of under the radar a little bit with the pressure off. So I think it will probably help him a little bit. Some old school riders for us to watch and enjoy. Brad Anderson, always entertaining. So he is down on the entry list, as is Nev Bradshaw.
Scored points last year. Scored points here last year to Brad Anderson.
Yeah, and whether he'd be riding two-stroke or not, I don't know. But that would be even better if either of them. And a rider I've got on here, and you said he just missed out, or not just, he missed out in the LCQ. Now, I saw Ollie Bubb at the Hut Cup in the Jude Morris celebration trophy race, and Ollie Bubb really, really impressed me. He was unreal. Just so smooth, so stylish, but just fast. And I could see him getting a good result. You know, he's had some good results since the Hut Cup as well. So, you know, maybe the missing out in the LCQ, maybe that is that little nudge that he needed.
Yeah, he was. I think the top four went through at Hawkstone in the LCQ, and he was sixth. He had a bad start. I think he got held up in the first corner, so it was very disappointing for him. But I think that he's involved with Jeff Parrott's Three Flow Concepts Yamaha team, Madison Crescent, sorry, and he's. I think there's backing behind him, and he's putting in the work. So Gloucestershire boy. So yeah, I hope he does really well, because he deserves to. He's a good rider. But yeah, just needs to put it all together on race day.
Cool. And then just a few more riders. Gavin Stevenson, Liam Garland and Bayliss Utting then are in 13th, 14th and 15th. We'll be looking to bridge that top 10 gap as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Also watch for the former youth guys like Joel Fisher, obviously twice Arena Cross Futures champion, good starter, good over jumps, two things that will really help him out at Canada Heights. So watch for Joel to race in the top 10. Freddie Bartlett also didn't have a great Hawkstone, so he'll be looking to turn things around a little bit from there. So yeah, watch out for those guys. And like I say, Bailey Sutting's always fast around the eastern centre, so it'd be good to see how he gets on too. Also, a little wild card, Tom Corneal, who won that LCQ at Hawkston Park, the Frenchman, he's lining up again for KTM Motorland, so he's an interesting character.
Before we do predictions, there's a guy on there, I can't say his name, on the entry list. So I wondered if you knew who he was.
Number 49?
It is. No.
Oh. That'd be Eidur Palmerson.
Yeah, I remember him. He's from Iceland, isn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Grantus Venus.
Yes. Who's he and where's he from? Do you know?
No idea. No, I really don't know. That's a new one on me. Hang on, let me Google it. All the preparation. Well, it comes up with MXON results.
Okay.
So he has raced at the Monster Energy Motocross Nation. So he raced at Matterley Basin last year. And I've no idea. He just disappeared off the screen. Grantus Venus. That sounds Eastern European. It's not Latvia. I don't think he's Estonian. So that would mean he's Lithuanian. Yeah, there he is. He raced in the actually he didn't start the qualifying heat for Lithuania, so he did race at Matterley, or was lined up for Matterley, and didn't actually get to compete. So okay, so Grantus Venus is from Lithuania. That's all we know.
Okay, interesting. Okay,
so we welcome him. See how he gets on.
Welcome. Top 5. Go on, you go first this time.
Yeah, my turn. Top 5. Okay. 5th place, I'm going to put Ben Muster.
Okay.
Fast starter, going to hang on, and I think Ben's going to be getting better and better through the year. A podium is coming.
Okay, I'm going Ollie Colmer. I've been impressed with Ollie. I like Ollie. I'm impressed with him, and I think he's just going to be there or thereabouts. And I do think by the end of the year he's going to be on the box.
4th place, Bobby Bruce.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, Bobby. Don't think he needs. I don't think he's quite going to be there because of his injuries and what he's gone through. But
just a bit too battered.
Yeah, consolidating 4th. I think it'd be a good 4th though.
Third, Billy Askew.
Okay, I've got the TS 100. I've got Tommy Serlin third. I think he's still going to be on the box, but I don't know if he's going to quite have the pace for the top two.
I've got Searle second.
Okay,
I think he's just going to do enough, and that might even include just roughing Billy up a bit.
cool. Well, I've got Billy beating him, and I
Okay.
think it's going to be close. I think it's going to
Yeah,
be.
it's going to be entertaining between those two for
Yeah.
sure. Because Tommy won't want to lose. When
No.
I know they're buddies, they're pals, and all the rest of it, and the teammates. But I just think there'll be Tommy will do enough to just make sure that Billy's out of the equation.
See, I just think Askew's just going to hang loose in the second moto just to do it, and it's going to be close.
Billy isn't at his best when he hangs loose. I feel. I think a controlled Billy is better than a hanging it loose Billy. If he gets a little bit too loose, that's when he tends to lose it, like he did last year at Cannon Heights. Crashed his brains out through the waves when he was in a good position.
He was, yeah, I remember that, yeah.
So if Billy pushes it too much, you might see, you might see just overstretching. Billy's better when he puts it together technically, and I think he might get too excited. I don't know. So far, I hope I'm proved wrong. I hope it's a great race, but I just feel like that's what Tommy needs to do, and I think he'll do it.
Cool. Okay, number one.
Oliver.
Yeah, I've got that. Let's be fair, based on results.
Paper. Yeah, where he's been riding. Nobody else in this class is racing the MX2 World Championship, and it's a damn good field in MX2 this year. It's crazy race, so unpredictable. 8 race winners in that class this season. 8 GP race winners is crazy, and Oliver has been right up there. So I don't see, if he's strong and fit, he's not jet lagged. I mean, he's only flying from Spain; it's not far. So I think that the team know how to put a bike together, and Oriol is a strong rider. So we'll see. It might be a bit of an effort for him. It might be hard work. He might only win one race out of the 2, but I still think he's just going to be too strong for everybody else.
It's going to be exciting. I have to say, we mentioned our top 5 there, but there are probably a good 10 to 8 other riders.
Oh yeah,
and could bridge that top 5.
Apologies to everybody I've missed out, because I think it certainly could be complete chaos up there. I mean, we might be completely wrong. None of this 5 might get in the eventual top 5, but yeah, I'll be surprised to see all of them out of it. But you never know. It's crazy times. MX2 is just nuts, and all the better for it.
And you only have to look at the results from Hawkstone to see that there was quite a lot of up and down results.
Yeah,
and like we are saying about Charlie Heyman, he was one of the few riders that strung 2 consistent results together, and Glenn McCormack as well. A lot of the others were up and down. So that's why I always think that the between sort of 5th and 10th, there's not going to be a lot in it.
No, I mean, like you say, we had Billy 6th and 1st, Ollie Colmer 8th and 4th. Dewinson was 3rd, then 17th.
Jay Nichols, similar, yeah.
Nichols the same. So it's all about the consistency, and that's where I think Oriol's just going to be strong, and Tommy's always been super consistent when it matters. So that's why I've gone that way. We'll see.
Cool. And that is the intriguing bit. MX2 is the standout in the British Championship. Right, before we close it, the 125 class, which the racing was epic, got a big returnee, Jamie Keith. Obviously, pre-season by far the favourite. Going to be heading with JK Racing to do EMX 125s. High hopes of that, but injury has really hampered him, and he missed the first round. But he is back and wants to make up those points, and he's got 7 rounds to do it.
Yeah, JK Racing, not Jamie Keith Racing, by the way, in case anyone's suspecting that's just his own private team. This is a big team based in Italy, runs Isaac Gifting in the MXGP class, who has had some great results, and everybody can see that. This is a good, solid Italian team with backing from Yamaha Europe. I'm not saying Jamie's getting exactly the same treatment as Mr. Gifting is, but yeah, he's got the backing of the Blue Crew. So from that side, Jamie has landed a good ride. It's not gone well for him. 2 broken collarbones, and it's been in free practice, qualifying practice in Spain, and then on the sighting laps in Sardinia where he's done the damage. So plated both collarbones, and returning is going to be a tough ask. But yeah, he's certainly a talented kid and one to watch out for. Although I personally wouldn't expect to win this weekend.
Yeah, he's like you said, he is the standout favourite at the start of the year, whether or not the injuries take their toll on him. But a rider that was standout number one at Hawkston was Ryan Wagger. We caught up with him earlier this week, and yeah, he said he's doing it for the full-time grafters. So he's a bit older than some of the other riders. He's 18. It's his
Yeah.
last year in the 125s before he moves up to 250. But he was really impressive at Hawkston. And yeah, he's after another 1-1, and why not? Had a really just on a 125 this year. He's been blitzing it, whether it's the Service Nationals, the Scottish. He's been pretty much unstoppable on a 125. So he's going to be a tough rider to catch. And if Jamie Keefe is going to come in, Ryan Waggett's going to be the one he's going to have to try and claw some points back on.
Yeah, I've got somebody else on the top of my predictions, so I'll let you do your predictions first.
We're going to go straight in predictions in this one. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Number 5, I've got Drew Stock.
Okay.
The EMX 125. Some good results, getting points. Yeah, been impressed with Drew this year.
Yeah, I've got Charlie Richmond in 5th.
Okay.
Wiltshire boy, strong at Fox Hill, strong in the hard pack. So yeah, I think Charlie's going to be right up there.
Okay, I've got Hayden Stat in 4th, another rider that's been in the mix. He's had a really good season. 2nd at Hawkston.
Yeah. 4th, I've got Drew Stock.
Okay. So we're mixed up here because I've got Charlie Richmond in 3rd.
Yeah, I think the same 5 riders in different order.
Yeah, it pretty much is. Charlie was really good at the Hut Cup. He's great on a 125. I like watching Charlie race. Seen him race at our Rocket till sundown back in the day on the 85s. So he's in 3rd for me.
Yeah, Drew Stock is 27th in the EMX 125 series at the moment. So he's been plugging away, getting points. So that's why I've got him 4th. In 3rd, I've got Ryan Waggett.
Okay. So I've got Ryan Waggett in 2nd.
Who've you got 3rd then?
Charlie Richmond.
All right, okay, cool. Okay. 2nd, I've got Jamie Keith.
Okay. So you've got Jamie in 2nd. Interesting. Very interesting. Well, I've got Jamie, not surprisingly, I've got Jamie. I don't think it's going to be easy. I think he's going to have to grit his teeth. But I think Jamie will win it.
Okay. So what's your top 5?
Jamie Keith first.
Yeah.
Ryan Waggett 2nd.
Yeah.
Charlie Richmond 3rd. Hayden Stat 4th. Drew Stock 5th.
Cool. Well, I've got Hayden Stat as the overall winner.
Okay.
Just that great start at Trentino, held on for quite some time at the top end there. He's not fully put everything together quite yet in Europe. He's 37th in the championship, 2-point scoring rides, but yeah, I think he's a good starter. He's fast at home, and I think he's fast there. So yeah, for my money, I think he's just got enough to charge to the win. Personally, that's how I feel. So yeah, but there we go.
He's going to be intriguing, though. I do like the 125s. There is quite a few other riders that could bridge that gap. So we've done a little preview on that and a chat with Ryan, so you can catch that on the website. But yeah, enjoying the having the 125s within the championship. Ben's going to be there commentating. Like we said, we've got the people feet on the ground with Edward Heather and our photographers there. I'll be feeding back from the live stream. Looking forward to watching that. So if you can't get there, but please try and get there. Let's support British Motocross. The weather is looking fantastic. The team at Canada Heights have put a ton of effort into this track. And obviously the Motul AT British Championship team have worked really hard on this championship. So let's get behind them, get to this event. Let's give Tommy's vlog plenty of fans in the background, and Jake's, to be fair, and anybody else. Other vlogs are available. Obviously, give Ben stick about Apple Mac if you can, because he's really struggling with it. So if you see Ben...
God damn. Yeah, 20 years on the Windows PC, and then this year got thrust into the world of Mac. And, oh, my God. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to go on because people will be shouting at me saying it's superior, it's better, honest.
Please, if you do see Ben, shout at him about it.
Don't you dare.
But yeah, no, get there. And if you can, watch the live stream. Fair play to Paul Irwin, the team. Obviously, Neil Irwin put so much effort into creating a free live stream for us and all the sponsors that have supported that. So, if you cannot be there, watch the live stream, give it some positive feedback. I think this is going to be a great weekend for British motocross.
Yeah, it's one of the best tracks to watch trackside. You can get very close to the action, and it's a thrill ride. Canada Heights is great to watch, and in the heat of the battle, so much goes on. It's a very, very cool place to watch motocross.
Cool, and you'll be back. You're going to do a post race paddock walk like you did last time.
Yeah, we'll do the paddock walk after the podium. So doing the podium as the commentator, and then trying to find who I can. So cue everybody running away from me when I finish that one and head out into the pits. But hopefully we'll speak to a few of the guys and get a bit of a lowdown on what's going on. So yeah, it'd be good. It was interesting at Hawkstone. And the British Championship guys are pretty straightforward. They'll tell you how it is, and looking forward to getting the tails from the horses' mouths, so to speak.
Cool, and Edward will be out there as well, and then we will catch up next week for another episode where we will go over what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait. Looking forward to it. So, yeah, thanks everybody for joining us here on the All British Motocross podcast, British Championship Canada Heights preview. Looking forward to seeing you out there. Give me a shout up the tower, and I'll give you a shout back. So, yeah, great one. See you next time. See you, Paul. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for listening. See you out there.